Hey, my name is Brian with worshiptutorials.com, and this is what I believe are 5 things you can do as a volunteer, a musician, a production person at your church to really, 1, help take your worship team, your production team to the next level, and 2, just to really bless your worship leader or pastoral leadership person, whoever is over you in leadership as part of the worship or production team. Now, I have been involved in leading worship. I've led worship as a volunteer or a staff member for over 10 years now. And I know that doesn't give me as much experience as many of you have, but I've learned a few things along the way, just observing what I would call just really, really top tier, high capacity volunteers. And just getting to know people and serving as a volunteer on teams as well. So here we go. Number 1, show up early. I do not believe showing up on time is good enough if you really want to go to the next level. Now, hopefully your worship leader, whoever's in leadership over you, shows up early as well. And if they don't, and you show up early, you will probably make them feel a little bad for not showing up early, and maybe they will next time, but you should not feel bad. Now, as a rule, at my campus where I lead worship, I show up an hour before anybody else that gets there, that volunteers. That means I get up at 4:30 in the morning on Sunday, because I have a bit of a drive to my campus where I lead, and I get there very early. But it's important to me that I have things ready for when people show up. So, and I do have volunteers who show up half an hour early, and I'm there, and a lot of times I'm preparing, and they say something very special to me when they get there. Many times they'll say, "Brian, how can I help?" And let me tell you, that will just bless your worship leader so much. And it allows me too time to build relationship with those volunteers who choose to do that. And it's just a great thing. So show up early. Number 2, show up prepared. Practice. Think about what you're going to do before you get there. This goes for rehearsal as well as worship services on Sunday. I believe rehearsal is not a time to learn songs. Rehearsal is a time for everything to come together. And then Sunday morning, it just flows like very smooth. So show up prepared. Spend as much time as it takes to be ready. I believe for rehearsal. I actually ask our volunteers to come to rehearsal with songs memorized. And I know that's a big commitment, but people will rise to that challenge. And I would encourage you to rise to that challenge, even if you're not being asked to. Show up prepared. It will encourage other people to do the same. And before you know it, the whole level of everything is just being raised. Show up early, show up ready. Number 3, learn a new instrument or skill. Stretch yourself. If you're in the band and you play guitar, pick up the bass. Learn how to play some stuff on the keys. If you're a vocalist, pick up a guitar. Pick up a keyboard. Learn a new instrument. And this should go for your worship leader, your music leader as well. I think we should all be just expanding our skill as much as we have margin to do it in our lives. And if you're production, say you run computer stuff, if you we call it CG, anything that goes on a screen. Learn how to program lights, learn how to run lights, learn how to run sound. If you're a sound person, learn how all the stuff in the back works. You could do what we have a role as it's called a producer. They sort of coordinate everything between all of the production people to make sure everything is flowing smoothly. You'll become much more versatile. You will become a better musician, a better production person. You will give your worship leader margin, because if you're a guitar player and you've been learning bass on the side, and your bass player can't make it for whatever reason, they get sick or something, you can say to your worship leader, maybe you're not scheduled, "Look, I can play some bass. I've been practicing. I can fill in." That would be just a huge blessing to your worship leader. Number 4, mentor somebody or disciple somebody. One of the greatest things I think that worship leaders should do is replicate themselves. And I don't think that stops with worship leaders. I think that goes for great volunteers as well. So if you can, find somebody. If you're a guitar player, find somebody in your church who might want to play guitar. Maybe if you're an older person or maybe a college age, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, it doesn't matter. Find a student, and lots of students want to learn how to play guitar, and teach them how. Teach them how to play. Show them what you can do. So you're stretching yourself, and teach somebody else. Just disciple somebody spiritually as well. Do that with people on your team. Maybe if someone comes onto your team that's new, and maybe they're new to the faith as well, and they're just excited, they're a musician, take them under your wing, disciple them. I believe your worship leader should be doing this, and your pastoral staff and leadership should be doing this, but you, as a volunteer leader, should be doing that as well. I really believe it, and I think that it will just help build community. And like I said, things are going to go to the next level. So number 5 is one that I feel very passionately about, and I think this goes for staff and volunteers. But be a worship leader when you're not scheduled. So hopefully you're not being scheduled to volunteer every single week. If you are, then I have another video for your worship leader, and give you a break is one of the things that I think worship leaders can do for you. But one of the things that I really hate to see is from our volunteers, and actually it becomes an issue that I bring up with people in their lives, is if they show up when they're scheduled but never any other time to church. I just think that is an issue. It's a symptom of a deeper issue that needs to be addressed. But I would encourage you as a volunteer, when you're not on stage or in production or something, when you're not volunteering, show up and be present in those worship services and be a worship leader. One of the things that really draws people in worship is when people around them in the congregation are engaging in worship. And I am the first guy to raise my hand and tell you that I sit there with my arms crossed and have no emotion on my face when I'm not leading worship. And it doesn't mean nothing's going on inside, and that's an important thing to remember. But if you can outwardly, expressively worship in a way that is comfortable and natural for you, from the congregation, it's going to draw people in from around you, and that is going to bless your worship leader. Because if you're a vocalist, you know this, or a band member at all, there's nothing worse than putting your heart and soul into worship, and you look out and you see everybody emotionless, staring back up at you. It's tough. And so it's a way that you can be a blessing to your band, to your team, to your worship leader. I hope these things are helpful for you. If you think of some more, hey, put them in the comments down there. If you disagree with me, tell me why. Put it in the comments. Head over to Worship Tutorials and give me a comment there. Say, hey, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.